Last 4 possessions for the Seattle Seahawks, 4 touchdowns. They lead at 28-17, and the Kansas City Chiefs defense, after stepping forward the last 3 weeks, it's been a nightmare so far today.
Yeah, they've given up too many big plays, particularly in the secondary, allowing it to just be oh so easy for the Seahawks on offense.
Lindell on the kickoff. This is Hall from the 7. Hall stops and takes it to the outside. Line of scrimmage will be the 27-yard line. Marcus Bell with the stop. Matt Hasselbeck, he is cooking right now for the Seahawks.
CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 37. Bud Light, for the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. And by the Civic from Honda, a car you never have to think about.
Yes. You work around fish long enough, you don't know what can seep into the brain.
That guy had good hands, though. I don't know how you catch a fish and hold on to it.
Trent Green, off play action, loops one for a first down. Tony Gonzalez, clean catch at the 44-yard line. 17 yards on their first play from scrimmage here in the 3rd quarter.
Well, the Chiefs defense has not been able to hold up, so now it appears as though we're going to have a shootout, because they're going to put the ball up, and I think you have to get the ball to Tony Gonzalez. He's a guy that he's going to draw one-on-one coverage. You have to put a cornerback on Gonzalez, or he'll eat a linebacker a lot.
Did you say shootout?
Shootout is right.
Because I think we're looking at a shootout. Right up the middle, Holmes hurdles his way across midfield. And a gain of 7 into Seattle territory. Marcus Robertson with the tackle.
John Tate that time is getting up very slow. He's going to limp his way back to the huddle. But Kansas City's coming out, and they're going to try to mix in some run in the pass. Priest Holmes has done some damage, but Dick Vermeil said points come in the passing game, so he's going to put the ball up in the air. He said that is the staple of this offense, is us attacking the defense with the passing game.
Holmes over 9 yards per carry, 13 for 121 and a touchdown. Holmes flagged down, able to dish out some punishment as well as Holmes hits the hole hard. Out across the 45-yard line, pickup of 6. We'll see what the penalty marker stands for. 2 penalties against Kansas City today, 4 against Seattle. And against the Seahawks, tack on 1 more. Seattle came in averaging just over 6 penalties per game. So Bernie Kukar going over it with Green. They would have the first down.
Holding 93 defense. That penalty is declined. First down.
So they'll let the Holmes run stand. Line of scrimmage is the 42. And the penalty marker against John Randall.
How does a defensive lineman get called for holding on a run play? It's really interesting.
I'm sure John Randall has an answer, or wants an answer. First down for Kansas City. Run it up the middle after faking that end around. It's a 2-yard gain for Holmes. Orlando Huff the stop for Seattle. We're going back to New York. Jim Nantz.
Thank you, Ian. A very impressive drive by the Raiders at the start of the 2nd half, and it ends right here with Tyrone Wheatley taking it the final 2 yards, his first touchdown of the season. Raiders 28-14 over the Cardinals. Let's go back to Ian and Solomon.
Well, Jim, when Wheatley is working out in that offense, you get a little bit of that fire and ice with Garner and Wheatley for Oakland.
Yeah, the running game, they are going to need it in the month of November and December if they're going to take control of this division and make the playoffs.
2nd and 8 from the 40. Green, short drop. A throw to Johnny Morton. He was able to hold on to the football and then got hit from behind by Springs. Good for 6 yards, 2 yards shy, 1.5 yards of a first down.
It was an excellent job by Johnny Morton, able to hold on to the ball because it's thrown high, and watch the hands of Sean Springs. He comes through trying to rake that ball loose, but Morton's strong enough to hold on to the football. And as we said, I expect him to have a much better 2nd half of the season, as he's appearing to be so much more comfortable working in this offense.
His 3rd catch of the day. He had 3 last week in the win over Buffalo. A tight win for Kansas City. They've had a number of tight games so far this season. On a 3rd and 2, Green looking for the first down. Into traffic. Incomplete. Eddie Kennison with Ken Lucas there defensively.
Now, Lucas that time in man-to-man coverage stayed step for step with Kennison. He breaks inside, tried to push off, but watch he go topside on the ball and able to knock it down before Kennison can haul it in.
Well, some options there for Dick Vermeil. Either a 52-yard field goal attempt, a punt, or you go for it on 4th and 2. They have elected to punt it and probably will take a delay of game to create a little more space for Straczynski. They will not. Looking for an angle. And Straczynski puts it at the 12-yard line. Bobby Engram the fair catch. Kansas City goes conservative. They trail by 11.
Every Saturday
was hugely entertaining. Sean Hayes and Jeremy Northam give stellar performances.
Hello, lady!
Don't miss Martin and Lewis, CBS Tonight.
Back at Seahawks Stadium, Seahawks lead at 28-17 over Kansas City with 8:44 to go in the third. You see what Seattle has done in its last 4 possessions, and I'd say that's a trend.
You see 92 yards in 3 plays on that last possession. That's really showing that this offense is catching fire.
1st and 10 from the 13. Alexander trying to emerge through a hole. And just not much to work with as Alexander creates on his own. 5.5-yard gain. NFL.com interactive. We asked the question this week, which offseason coaching change has worked out the best this year?
Well, the biggest turnaround has been what Marty Schottenheimer has done with the San Diego Chargers. You have to give him credit for what he's been able to do with that football team.
Now, John Gruden with Tampa Bay has done an outstanding job as well. And the other 2 coaches included Callahan and Dungy. Sideline toss, Robinson and Warfield, and a flag down. This KC defense has reverted back to its early season woes.
Pass interference, 44 defense. That's the first down.
Anytime you make contact with the wide receiver, you don't get your head around to find the football, they're going to call pass interference. So you have to have some instincts about you and understand when the ball is going to come in. You can see contact is made, and he had yet to get his hand around and was not playing the football. So Warfield, who had really struggled in the earlier part of the year, came up with 2 interceptions last week, and now he's regressed, and Greg Robinson is hoping for better play from his cornerbacks.
Turns out to be an 18-yard penalty. And a 1st and 10 from the 35. Hasselbeck rifles one over the middle. Robinson, another catch into Kansas City territory, and they're picking on Warfield. Another flag down.
Little exchange between Ray Crockett and Corin Robinson. Drew a flag.
We'll see if it's it could be a taunting penalty. As Bernie Kukar will chat with his umpire. You know, bigger picture right now is Kansas City defensively, they are getting carved up by the Seattle offense, which has done next to nothing in recent weeks.
They had given up 28 plays of 20 yards or more in their first 8 games. Last 2 weeks, they hadn't given up any. So far today, they've given up 6 plays of 20 yards or more. So they've definitely have regressed on the defensive side of the ball.
Personal foul. They just pointed in the direction of the Seahawks. Mike Holmgren awaiting word. Dick Vermeil in the same boat with 7:58 to go in the 3rd quarter.
Personal foul, 84 offense. After the play was over, it is a first down. We'll mark off 15 yards. First down.
So Bobby Engram is the man that's called on the personal foul after some extracurricular activities following the play.
Bobby Engram, the most senior player of this wide receiver group. All the other guys are 1st, 2nd year, maybe 3rd year players. Just a huge mistake. You know, Mike Holmgren expects better from his veteran wide receiver.
And Engram heads to the sideline. Now a 1st and 10. They will back it up to the 37. So it costs Seattle 15 yards after the grab by Robinson. Running play. Alexander trying to accelerate, cannot, as he takes it to the 40 for a 3-yard gain. Gary Stills involved in the stop for Kansas City. And that could turn out the kind of play that the Chiefs defense needed just to put Seattle back in a hole and maybe shift the momentum a little bit, because they've been moving the ball.
And most of the pass interference penalties have come against these cornerbacks when they've been in press coverage. So they may want to play off and use the safeties to go over the top and hope to defend the run with the 7-man front.
2nd and 7. Bootleg. Hasselbeck on a rollout. It's complete to Ingram. So they get him right involved as Ingram dives forward. And it should be enough for a first down, Seattle.
The play action fake worked good enough just to hold Ray Crockett to give Ingram an opportunity to get on the outside. He's outside, he makes the catch, and he's able to turn up the field and pick up the first down before Crockett can make the tackle.
And it is a new set of downs for the Seattle Seahawks. Ingram, 26 of his 29 catches this season have been for first downs. Offense today, the numbers right there. Robinson sheds a tackler, and white jerseys now come in to corral Corin Robinson, but the damage was already done. Robinson to the 34-yard line of Kansas City. Hasselbeck is putting up huge numbers.
And the Seahawks are really doing a fabulous job in the passing game. When the Kansas City Chiefs were in press coverage, they were throwing up top. Now that they've moved off, they're just throwing the short passes underneath the coverage. Either way, they're picking up huge gains from their wide receivers, and they feel like they have an advantage working against this secondary for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Matt Hasselbeck, 18 of 25, 278 yards and 3 touchdowns. A new career high in yardage. Alexander, that initial wave, he couldn't break it. Eric Downing helping to lead that charge with Fujita, and a loss of 1.
Right now, the Seahawks seem to be one step ahead of the defense for the Kansas City Chiefs. We said that once they move back the cornerbacks and play from that off position, they're just dumping it in front, and so they still have to try to mix in some of the run plays. But right now, Matt Hasselbeck is on a roll with his wide receivers. They're showing great chemistry and really working on this defense, just picking them apart.
Greg Robinson barking out instructions to his defense. The Hasselbeck numbers have been very impressive. Hasselbeck to Stevens again, who had that outstanding catch in the end zone for the score just before the end of the first half. Patton with a tackle, and that's a 7-yard gain to the tight end.
Big third down coming up for the Chiefs on defense. They have to be able to get the stop, create a turnover. It's very difficult to blitz Hasselbeck at this point because the receivers are making so many big plays on the outside when they're covered man-to-man.
On a 3rd and 4. Hasselbeck. Blitz is coming. Hasselbeck is sacked. Dropped back at the 36. Dwayne Clemens is there with Shenard Hartz. And Robinson's unit has come through.
Now, Greg Robinson decided that the best pass coverage is to get to the quarterback, and so they blitz, bringing more than the Seahawks can block. Greg Wesley, the strong safety, coming in, and they all converge on the quarterback. They get Hasselbeck before he can get rid of the football.
And the first Kansas City sack of the day has moved Seattle out of field goal range. So Jeff Fiegels will punt it. Dante Hall is standing at his own 10. Fiegels trying to pin the Chiefs back. Wobbly punt. It'll take a bounce. And it is down at the 7-yard line. J.P. Darsh, who snapped it, touched it up. 28-17. Seahawks lead it in the 3rd.
CBS is sponsored by Radio Shack. This month only, you'll find great deals on home entertainment products only at Radio Shack. And by Wendy's Bacon Swiss Cheeseburger and Chicken Bacon Swiss. It's better here.
Back in Seattle, Kansas City enters action at 5-5. 4 of their 5 wins, though, have come when they've trailed at the half. As they did here today, this team is comfortable coming from behind. Can they do it again? Handoff. He's amazing. Priest Holmes. Holmes got a block from Richardson, and he just turned it into a 19-yard gain down the sideline. Let's head to New York right now. Jim Nantz has an update for us.
All right, and it involves the ageless wonder, Jerry Rice, at 40 years old, having one of his best seasons in 5 years. Hauls it in, 37-yard score, 35-14. Oakland. Gannon also having another big day. Let's go back to Ian and Solomon.
Jim, certainly a game that the Kansas City Chiefs are aware of, with Oakland now out in front comfortably. Different story here for Kansas City. Holmes driven back. He cannot get out of that one. This is a guy that can create oftentimes, but there's no way to create when that collapses on you as it just did.
Absolutely, but on the previous play, he showed great patience running behind his offensive lineman. Dick Vermeil said that the real key to Priest Holmes and his ability to run is that he has a good feel for the blocking scheme, understands where the hole is going to open up behind his offensive line, and he just has the patience to wait for that hole to open and then has the speed to accelerate and pick up yards.
No gain on that play. It's a 2nd and 10. Green finds Kennison, and Eddie Kennison is into Seattle territory at the 49-yard line. That's a 23-yard hookup.
And what an adjustment on the ball by Eddie Kennison. Well thrown ball. It's thrown behind him a little bit. He turns and is able to haul it in. Made an excellent adjustment to the ball thrown by Trent Green, and that's why it's thrown behind, because he was under pressure, wasn't able to step up in the pocket as he's hit by Orlando Huff.
Eddie Kennison, Dick Vermeil told him in training camp, you're the starter. He looked him in the eye and told him, don't let anyone take that spot from you. And Kennison has it. Little misdirection. It's Morton. Johnny Morton turns it upfield. And Morton is spun out of bounds at the 37-yard line of Seattle. That's a 12-yard run for Morton.
Well, we said we were going to have a shootout, and now the Chiefs are on a roll. They fake the handoff to Priest Holmes. Johnny Morton comes around on the reverse, and he's able to pick up the first down. He's beyond the first down marker before he's hauled in by Ken Lucas.
Morton, first carry of the day, 12 yards. He's already set a career high this season in rushing yards, although his receiving numbers are down. He's got 112 yards on the ground this year. First down, Kansas City. Green fields the pressure, gets rid of the football for Morton. And Johnny Morton is down at the 19-yard line.
Morton's more of an active part of this offense today. We saw him on the reverse, and now he just comes all the way across the field. He's a small guy, but he's not afraid to go over the middle. Trent Green hits him in stride, and he's able to haul it in. And right now, this offense has a good feel for what the Seahawks are doing on defense. They're playing zone, and so they're just using a lot of crossing routes to hit the open man.
Just over a minute left in the third. Green will mix in the run. Holmes, look at him hit the hole. Priest Holmes forced out of bounds at the 5. Robertson and Tongue combined on the push. 14-yard run for Holmes.
Priest Holmes has no wasted motions. They'll just pull the backside, and he hits it right off the blocks. You see him following the backside guard, and he's right there to hit the hole as soon as it opens. And that way he's in the secondary before the defensive backs can react. And it's just good feel for how his offensive line likes to block up front. That's why he's so effective.
Obscene offensive numbers here today. Handoff. It's Holmes trying to break an extra tackler, cannot. Orlando Huff helped bring him down. Priest Holmes has carried the football now 19 times for 165 yards.
And he gets stronger as the game goes on. He already had 100 yards at halftime, so I don't know what we can expect from him here in the second half. And he's a guy that will really hurt you as we go into the fourth quarter.
And that's exactly where we're headed. Kansas City will face a 2nd and goal from the 4 as the fourth quarter gets underway, and the Chiefs recognizing they've got 15 very important minutes of football standing in front of them. 28-17, Seahawks lead it. We'll return after this message and a word from your local station.
NFL Sunday Ticket is brought to you in part by Expedia.com.
Maybe not.
Difficulties. And Kansas City had no difficulties taking into the end zone. Priest Holmes with a 4-yard touchdown. We'll show it to you in a moment. 2-point conversion try. Green avoids the rush. Green running, and he's in. They get the 2-point conversion. Green will spike the football, but first let's show you the first play of this fourth quarter, as Priest Holmes was able to take it in from 4 yards away.
Yeah, he just pounds it in right up the middle. They pull the backside tackle, and look at the power of Priest Holmes working behind that offensive line to get him in for the touchdown.
An 8-play, 92-yard drive ends in Holmes' 3rd touchdown of the day. 2 of them rushing, 1 receiving. And the 2-point conversion try that they make good on because of the creativity of Trent Green.
Well, earlier we told you that Trent Green running the football, that's more of an anomaly, not something that you see every day, but he's making it a common occurrence, running in for the 2-point conversion. Did run in on a 9-yard touchdown scamper last week against Buffalo, so he's showing that, hey, if you think I'm going to sit back here in the pocket, then you have another thing coming.
It is a new franchise record for Priest Holmes. 20 touchdowns, and he has done it in week 12.
Yeah, he's done it in fine fashion, and what a professional. Had a chance to sit down with him and talk to him about those lean years when they had continued to start other running backs over him, even when he was in Baltimore and had rushed for 100 yards, and they started the rookie Jamal Lewis over him. He just played his role on a Super Bowl team, became a 3rd down back, improved his pass catching skills, and he never said one thing. He maintained his professionalism, and that's just what kind of person you find in Priest Holmes.
Well, and he looked at it the right way as well. He said, I got everything I could out of Baltimore. They got everything they could out of me. Both were able to benefit from the experience, and he was just looking forward to a chance to be the guy, and Dick Vermeil believed in him.
He said it was time to go. He came over, and he said the opportunity to work in this offense, an offense that Dick Vermeil brought over from the St. Louis Rams. He says, I get to play Marshall Faulk, and he's doing a good job at it.
Anderson will kick it off. James Williams is the deep man from the 12. Williams cutting to the outside. And good lateral movement there by Lyle West on special teams. It's a 12-yard return. Back to the big picture now. This is a 3-point game. Kansas City was able to take it right down the field. Holmes with a touchdown, first play of the fourth quarter. They add the 2-point conversion, 3-point differential. Kansas City has won 7 of the last 11 meetings with the Seattle Seahawks. These 2 teams won't play again until 2006 because of realignment. Hasselbeck on first down, throwing to Corin Robinson, bouncing off of tacklers. Here's Robinson trying to get to the open field. Robinson brought down from behind by Scott Fujita. What an individual effort, 33 yards, and the most of it was done by Robinson.
And it started with the presence of Matt Hasselbeck in the pocket. He had pressure, he was able to move around, and once he got the ball to Corin Robinson, watch him work underneath the coverage, picking up a block from Atula Mealy, and then on the outside, Sean Alexander springing Robinson for more yards. And so it's the big plays under pressure by Matt Hasselbeck, just very cool in the pocket.
10 straight completions for Hasselbeck. He has gone over 300 yards, first time in his career. And Alexander gets the call. Floyd Womack with a good block to create some space for Alexander, and he picks up 6 yards.
And we said it at the top that Matt Hasselbeck has to begin to lead his football team. This is his 17th career start, so he's played a number of games with this football team, with this particular group of players, and you know what, he's showing it that the experience is beginning to help, and it's ready for him to begin to step up, become a leader on this football team.
2nd and 4 from the 36, through a hole. Alexander, and that's a first down. 5-yard gain. Line of scrimmage is the 31.
Last week against Denver, Sean Alexander 18 yards on 11 carries, and so far today he's beginning to pick up the pace. And they don't really have a powerful running game here in Seattle. They sort of like to run off tackle, quick hitting plays, so they're going to have to continue to pass the football so that they can create some running room for Sean Alexander.
And Robinson was shaken up. He's on the sideline now, not on the field. It's Jackson and Ingram on a toss. Alexander stops and able to cut it upfield for a yard, yard and a half. Fujita combining with Myslowski. And there's Corin Robinson. Looks like the left hand as he's flexing the fingers. Robinson has 7 catches today, 161 yards, including a touchdown.
What a breakout game for the second-year receiver. Came in the first round last year for this football team and is beginning to make some big plays. So that's what they're looking for from Corin Robinson.
2nd and 9 from the 30 for Seattle. Hasselbeck will throw to the perimeter. Jackson. Beautiful move by Jackson to get to the 20. He made Hart's miss. And another Seahawks first down.
And Jackson, they said all week in practice he had shown the quickness and said that he had showed no signs of rust after sitting out for 3 weeks. You see the move he put on Hart's out in the open field. And so you have the quickness of Darrell Jackson and then the size of Corin Robinson. And now this receiving group, they're beginning to make some plays.
And both are on the field now as Robinson returns. A 1st and 10 from the 20. 3-receiver look. Running play. Alexander cannot break free of Patton. 1-yard gain for Sean Alexander.
Patton just showed a burst of speed as he came downhill on that play, scraping behind the defensive line, and was able to haul in Sean Alexander, who was trying to get to the outside.
Coming up on 11 minutes to play here in the 4th. Hasselbeck, major numbers today. Alexander has looked much sharper in the running game, and Robinson, what can you say, 161 yards on 7 receptions. Hasselbeck under pressure gets rid of it to Max Strong. The football was loose and it's ruled incomplete as Eric Hicks came firing through.
It's only Hasselbeck's 8th incompletion of the game, so he is doing a good job of managing the offense. No turnovers, thrown some very good balls today, and some have been dropped. His numbers would be even better.
It was Fujita who laid out a hit on Strong to make sure he didn't hold on to the football. And that ends a streak of 11 straight completions for Matt Hasselbeck. 8th play of the drive. This is a 3rd and 9 from the 19. Hasselbeck steps up. Knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Eddie Freeman, the defensive tackle, gets his hand on it. And a big stop by the Kansas City defense.
Huge play by Freeman. He's reading the eyes of the quarterback, and at the defensive line, you got to get the hands up when that ball is turned loose. Hasselbeck was looking for his tight end, Atula Mealy, over the middle of the football field.
Well, no matter what, this will remain a 1-possession game for Kansas City. Ryan Lindell, though, has a chance to give Seattle a 6-point lead. 37-yard attempt. Lindell will get it to curve his way. And it's good. Seahawks 31, Chiefs 25. We're in the 4th. What a combination that's been today. Hasselbeck and Robinson has helped lead Seattle to a 31-25 advantage. 10:42 to go in the 4th. Ian Eagle, Solomon Wilcots, our CBS crew with you from Seahawks Stadium. Lindell on the kickoff to Dante Hall from the 5. Hall flag down as he is tackled at the 26-yard line by Marcus Bell. Penalty marker on the play. May have been Mark Boerichter. As holding was called, Boerichter's number 85. He was involved here on special teams.
Holding number 60 of the return team during a run back. 10-yard penalty. First down.
And maybe not. Donald Willis called on that hold. They'll back it up. Trent Green gets a crack at this Seattle defense.
CBS is sponsored by Ford. With 150 million vehicles sold, Ford is America's #1 choice. Nextel, how business gets done. And by Staples. Get back time. Go to Staples.
Well, it's 4th quarter time, and for Kansas City, that's usually a good thing.
It's a good thing because they have Trent Green and Priest Holmes, 2 of the most productive players in the National Football League at money time.
1st and 10 from their own 12-yard line. 10:37 on the game clock. Seahawks lead it 31-25 over the Chiefs. Holmes trying to use a blocker and then cut it back. Anthony Simmons sniffed it out with King a 2-yard gain. You can log on to NFL.com, help pick the NFL's all-star lineup. Cast your vote for the 2003 Pro Bowl squad right now only at NFL.com or on America Online. Enter keyword NFL.com. 2nd and 8 for Kansas City.
Priest Holmes had 104 yards rushing last week against the Bills. 49 of those yards came on the final drive for the Chiefs.
This crowd getting loud. It is not packed by any stretch, but the fans are into it. Green sets it up with a short toss. Holmes, first down, Kansas City. Orlando Huff will be given credit for the tackle. That's a 10-yard toss.
Priest Holmes is so adept at doing just about everything in this offense, whether you're running it in between the tackles or breaking off tackle outside, working on the perimeter in the running game, and then he runs the draw play, and then he comes back with that quick screen, and that's when we saw him take to the house on a 64-yard touchdown, and now he's doing it again.
3 yards shy of 100 for the day receiving. Already has 171 on the ground. He's got more than that. Here's Holmes, shake and bake across the 35. John Tate helping out with a block. That's an 11-yard gain, and Holmes is inching closer to 200 for the day on the ground.
And this is why he takes care of his body. He says sometimes 3 or 4 massages a week just to get himself ready to play. He said, by Sunday, I'm ready to go. And he looks like it so far here today.
Priest Holmes, 22 carries, 182 yards. Total yardage, 279. That is the most he has had combined in a game. Monster numbers on a 1st and 10 at the 35. Green able to get rid of it. It's complete to Tony Gonzalez and a short gainer of 4 yards. Tim Terry, the linebacker, had coverage on the Pro Bowl tight end.
Ball was thrown behind Tony Gonzalez. He's able to haul that ball in, and it's a good thing he was, because sometimes when that ball is thrown behind the receiver going over the middle of the field, if you tip that ball up, it's going to come down in the hands of the defense. So it's almost imperative that you're able to bring that ball down, as Tony Gonzalez was able to do on that play.
Kansas City numbers: Green, Holmes, 97 yards receiving, and now a 2nd and 6. Hand it off through a hole. Holmes into Seattle territory. Priest Holmes down at the 46-yard line.
They caught the Seahawks defense blitzing through the wrong gap. They were coming in on the left side. You see, they'll come here, and then the draw play will hit there. And so it's just a well-executed play by the Kansas City Chiefs. Right play at the right time.
We mentioned earlier that Holmes is rewriting the Kansas City record book. He can do it again. If he gains 4 more yards, he'll have the new single-day rushing record in Chiefs history. He's at 197. Right now, Green will throw it to Tony Richardson, the fullback, and it's good for 4 yards. 2nd and 6 upcoming. Fuller and Huff collaborate to make the stop.
And every player we talked to on the offensive side of the football for the Kansas City Chiefs came in and said, we expect to be able to make plays in the 4th quarter. We don't mind playing from behind. It's almost as if they would prefer to do it. Normally, of course, everyone would like to have the big lead, but when the Chiefs are in this situation, they don't flinch.
2nd and 6 from the 42. On a handoff. Michael Cloud getting the carry, and Cloud is spilled out at the 41-yard line. He picks up a yard. Anthony Simmons helping to make that stop.
Even Priest Holmes has to take a breather. He says, I'm not Superman. I don't wear a cape. But he's the next best thing. Just a powerful runner. Has the speed and quickness to get outside. Has the hands of a receiver. He's certainly the complete package.
Just the 6th carry of the season for Cloud, and now an important 3rd and 5. We hit the 6-minute mark of the 4th quarter, and Trent Green calls a timeout. Seattle 31, Kansas City 25. Will come back to the Pacific Northwest after this. Dick Vermeil knows the Chiefs have put themselves in a position, if they stumble, it could mean the end of this season in terms of the postseason. Right now, it's a crucial 3rd and 5 from the 41 of Seattle. Richardson in motion. Green with a blitz coming, gets rid of it, incomplete. Antonio Cochran with pressure. And the Chiefs are forced to punt it.
They blitz, they come off the right side of the defense right into the face of Trent Green, and Cochran was able to get a hand up and tip that ball, but he came unblocked. Number 78 working it in from the right side of the defense, able to get his hand up and tip that football.
Straczynski to punt it. Bobby Ingram is standing inside his own 10. Fair catch at the 5. Why do you catch the football at the 5?
Big mistake. You never want to catch the football at the 5. Bobby Ingram said he's a veteran ball player. You have to let that ball go. Once you're inside the 10-yard line, you can wave fair catch, but let it go because it'll go through the end zone. You have to understand where you're at. Now the Seahawks have to protect where they're at on the football field.
Well, Thanksgiving Day will take you to Motown, a long-time holiday tradition. Tom Brady and the Pats take on Joey Harrington and the Lions. The excitement begins with Jim, Dion, Dan, and Boomer on the NFL Today. Looks like we went high-tech for the turkey outfits.
The dancing turkeys think they'll be there on Thanksgiving Day?
I would think nothing less. They have to be there.
That's right.
It's not Thanksgiving without them. Well, the Seahawks, 24 drives starting inside their own 20. 1 touchdown, which came today, and 2 field goals. Hasselbeck on a throw. Incomplete. Robinson. And it would have been a short gainer. It'll be 2nd and 10 from the 6.
That time Marcus Patton, look, he'll come right down the middle. That's Greg Wesley. You have to stay on the ground. Get the sack because the quarterback is still holding the ball. He's going to try to fake you out there, but if you keep your feet on the ground, run right through the quarterback, you have a sack and maybe even a safety.
4th drop pass today for Seattle. And some pressure on this Kansas City defense. This is still a 1-possession game. They've got the Seahawks pinned back deep in their own territory at the 6 with plenty of time left. 5:46 remaining in the 4th. Hasselbeck, short drop. And a quick throw to Robinson. His body got tossed around. Combination of Warfield and Myslowski. That's a 7-yard gain.
Right now the Chiefs are taking some chances. They're blitzing on just about every play. Seahawks well aware, so Hasselbeck gets rid of the ball fairly quickly to avoid the rush.
New career high for Corin Robinson in terms of yardage, 168. And he's matched a career high with 8 catches. This is a 3rd and 3. We come up on 5 minutes to go. 4th quarter. Seattle 31, Kansas City 25. Play action. Hasselbeck's got the first down to Ingram. He is a first down machine. Bobby Ingram.
Well, it's the same play we saw earlier in the game. It's play action to the left. That holds Ray Crockett. In the meantime, Ingram is working to the outside. Once he gets outside leverage on Crockett, there's nothing to stop him before he picks up the first down.
Little stiff arm on Crockett to boot. And Seattle can use more clock. 4:45 and counting. Line of scrimmage is the 23. Seahawks just 1-4 here at home. Rush is coming. Hasselbeck knocked up in the air. Incomplete as it sailed out of bounds. It looked like Eric Hicks was the man that got a piece of it.
And the Chiefs were just hoping that ball came down inbounds, hoping to get the interception off the tip.
It'll be 2nd and 10 from the 23.
I think the Chiefs have to continue to blitz. They're going to have to force the issue a little bit with Matt Hasselbeck, but they have to have the coverage behind it. Once they have their hot read, 3-step drop, you have to be able to jump the route and maybe get the interception.
On 2nd down for Seattle. Hasselbeck up the middle on a handoff for Alexander. A 3-yard pickup. Fujita, another tackle for Kansas City. And now a 3rd and 7 facing this Seahawks offense.
And Fujita coming in to close down that hole off tackle. Sean Alexander looking to break it back. Fujita that time squeezing down and preventing the big run by Sean Alexander.
Fujita had a career high 9 tackles last week in the win over Buffalo. So many close games this Kansas City team has played in this season. 4 of their losses have been by a combined 11 points. This is a 3rd and 7. Hasselbeck steps up and throws. He's got his man. It's Ingram again and a first down. Out across the 35. 11-yard pass play. And they'll move the chains and the clock is rolling.
Well, it's the poise of Matt Hasselbeck standing in the pocket, allowing Ingram to get open, and excellent protection by the offensive line. He jams this one in. Have to give Ingram some credit because he goes in between both linebackers, Patton as well as Maslowski, to haul that ball in and pick up the first down.
Down to 3:20 remaining. And Seattle keeps this drive going. A 1st and 10 at the 37. Running play. Alexander. 3 yards up the gut. Browning making the tackle for KC. And we will hit the 3-minute mark of the 4th quarter.
Now the Chiefs are really going to have to commit and just bring the house to try to shut down the running game up the middle with Sean Alexander, or see if they can leak through on a pass play, try to pick up a big sack on Matt Hasselbeck. But right now their backs are up against the wall. They're going to have to gamble a little bit on defense to try to blow up a play by the Seahawks offense.
Kansas City still has 2 timeouts remaining. Will Dick Vermeil's offense get a chance to win this football game? 2nd and 7. A pitch to Alexander. Waits for the hole to develop. Leaves his feet. And then he's gang tackled at the 45, but he picks up 5 yards. And it will be a timeout taken for Kansas City. They know they have the 2-minute warning left in their pocket and 1 more timeout left. We'll step aside with 2:21 left to go. A 6-point lead for Seattle.
CBS is sponsored by Coors Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Cold down easy. And by Domino's Pizza. Get the door. It's Domino's.
For those of you expecting to see 60 Minutes, you're watching the NFL on CBS. Kansas City against Seattle. Ian Eagle along with Solomon Wilcots. 31-25, Seahawks leading it. 60 Minutes will be seen in its entirety immediately following this game, except on the West Coast. Huge 3rd and 2 for the Seahawks from the 45. Play action. On a throw to Alexander. He's got the first down. And the Seahawks now 3 of 3 on 3rd down conversions in this drive. And we will hit the 2-minute warning. We'll step aside. Seahawks trying to put this one away against the Chiefs. Seattle leading Kansas City. They have put 5 seconds back on the clock. The Chiefs claim they called the timeout before the clock rolled down to 2 minutes. So, in essence, they used their final timeout, and Seattle is forced to run a play. Then the 2-minute warning will hit.
You have to wonder if the Chiefs are second-guessing themselves. At about 6 minutes left on 4th down, they punted the ball. And you have to wonder, as porous as their defense has been today, if they should not have gone for it, because it doesn't appear as though they're going to get another shot to try to score on offense.
These numbers are mind-blowing. 482 total yards for Kansas City, 486 for Seattle. Seahawks with a 1st and 10 at the 49 of the Chiefs. Running play, Alexander. And Alexander brings the pile with him for a few yards. Eric Hicks with the tackle. Officially, we have now hit the 2-minute warning, and we'll come back to Seattle in a moment. 2 minutes left in the 4th. How did we get here? 31-25, Seattle leading Kansas City. A game summary and lots of it. Holmes, 15-yard touchdown. Kansas City in front. Anderson, a field goal, 31 yards. Alexander gets 7 back with a 3-yard touchdown run, but Holmes, 64-yard touchdown reception. Max Strong with a reception for a score. Jeremy Stevens, brilliant play in the end zone, 21-17. Robinson gets in on the act, 17-yard touchdown. They extend the lead. Holmes, 4-yard touchdown run, trail by 3. Lindell, 37-yard field goal. And that's the difference right now, 31-25. Best case scenario, Solomon, for Kansas City. If they stop Seattle here, you're looking at about 30 seconds left. They get the football back, down by 6.
Yeah, that's right. And right now they have to tug at that football, try to strip it from the runner, try to cause a big play, creating a turnover.
On a 2nd and 7. Well, that's it. Alexander just put the icing on the cake. Touchdown, Seattle. It's over.
What a disappointment for the defense and the Kansas City Chiefs. Sean Alexander just cuts it right up the middle and puts the icing on the cake for a huge upset win.
"23 carries, 145 yards, 2 touchdowns for Alexander. And they will line up for 2 with a 37-25 lead. Try to make this 2 touchdowns with 1:52 left. Alexander goes in motion. Hasselbeck takes it himself. The Seattle Seahawks have dealt with so much disappointment this season. And right now, they are 1:52 away from handing the Kansas City Chiefs a damaging blow to their playoff hopes.
Watch number 42, Shenard Hart. He'll come up to the line of scrimmage, and that's where they cut underneath. And actually, Ray Crockett came up to the outside, and that's where Sean Alexander found the split in the defense. He's going to hit right underneath the wide receiver, Corin Robinson, and Ray Crockett just comes up too far up the field, takes himself out of position. Sean Alexander takes advantage of it.
Well, Seattle, the trend has been second half domination, and they've been on the short end. Not today. Kansas City, which has been known, their MO this year has been fourth quarter comebacks, able to rally from halftime deficits. And that's going to tell you the story.
Well, they really poured it on in the second half. They came out ready. Mike Holmgren said, hey, we have a young football team. He said, if we could just keep this team together, he said, these guys are really going to be good. Talking about Matt Hasselbeck, Sean Alexander, Corin Robinson, and boy, are they showing it today.
Hall from the 12. Kansas City needed a kickoff return to go the distance. That's just not going to be. Well, next Saturday, your favorites are back, giving it their primetime best. Scott Hamilton, Tara Lipinski, Brian Boitano, Kurt Browning, and Surya Bonali head up the competition as Olay presents Ice Wars, USA versus the world. Well, Solomon, let's talk about it from the Kansas City perspective. 5-5. They knew how important this game was coming in to action today. 1st and 10 at the 30-yard line for KC, now trailing by 14 points. Green steps up. It's Priest Holmes. Holmes across the 40. They have no timeouts remaining, and the clock will continue to roll as Holmes goes over 100 yards receiving to go along with 197 yards on the ground. Margin of error was so slim, especially in the division that Kansas City plays in.
And to a man, they assured us that there wouldn't be a letdown coming into play. 3-7 Seattle Seahawks football team. And I don't think they let down on the offensive side of the ball. Certainly close to going over 500 total yards on offense, but defensively it's been a huge disappointment, much like what they've seen earlier in the year. And you can't afford to fall behind many of these guys, the Denver Broncos, the Raiders, and of course the Chargers. And now you're starting to see some separation inside the AFC West division.
Now, Dick Vermeil talked at great lengths with us about the chemistry on this team, and now guys will stay after practice, play pool, play video games together in the locker room as Green makes the completion to the 40-yard line, Johnny Morton. And now chemistry is going to be a big part of whether or not Kansas City can dig themselves out of a hole the rest of this season.
Well, we showed you the miracle numbers in the fourth quarter. That's what it's going to take here. They can score a touchdown, get the onside kick, and then try to score very quickly. But I tell you, it's going to be very difficult. But it's certainly, there may be just some parts of that genie left in the bottle, but not much.
Now they've had their share of miracles, including week 1 in a victory over the Cleveland Browns. 62 combined first downs today. That has tied an NFL record. San Diego and Seattle back in '85, Oakland and Kansas City in 2000.
Well, we told you it would be a shootout, and certainly has been. Both teams over 500 total yards in offense so far today.
Shotgun. Green. Complete to Johnny Morton at the 15, but only 48 seconds left. And Kansas City trails by 2 touchdowns.
And you have to take a shot at the end zone on this play.
And a new NFL record for first downs. Green steps up. Green wide open. Touchdown, Bo Richter. And Kansas City is not dead yet.
So they still have a shot. You get the onside kick, and you may be able to squeeze off 2 plays and take a shot at the end zone to tie this game up. Mark Bo Richter gets loose, and Trent Green, what a job he's done all day moving around in the pocket. Here's Bo Richter working in the slot. He pushes up the field, and Reggie Tongue just lets him go.
Anderson, extra point. He puts it through, and the Kansas City Chiefs still within striking distance with 31 seconds left in the 4th quarter. Tonight, 60 Minutes. While it may surprise you that the FBI isn't all that it's cracked up to be, it won't surprise you that Billy Crystal is. Both stories tonight on 60 Minutes. Then don't miss Becker and Everybody Loves Raymond, followed by a world premiere movie event. Emmy winner Sean Hayes stars in Martin and Lewis, the true story of America's favorite comedy duo. Jerry Lewis, Dean Martin, the breakup that shocked the nation. It's all here tonight on CBS.
And you have to wonder if the Seahawks defense didn't start to celebrate a little too soon, because Kansas City just went down the field oh so easy to pick up the touchdown. And of course, if you can get the ball on this onside kick, which I think you have to do, you have to take some shots at the end zone. You're going to put the ball in the air, but first you have to get the ball first on the onside kick.
1,087 combined yards for these two teams. 31 seconds left. In a 7-point game, it has come down to an onside kick for Kansas City. Seahawks line up as they flood the right side on their special teams return unit. Morton Anderson looking for some magic. Anderson on the approach. He will bounce it in the air. It's a timing play, and it's caught by Ingram. Seahawks will hold on to win this one with 30 seconds left. All they have to do is take a knee.
Mark Ingram, the veteran receiver, the good hands team, he comes down with this ball. Wasn't even close. Now you'll see Matt Hasselbeck. He'll take a knee, put the game away.
Only 30 seconds remain. Kansas City 5-5 entering action, and an injured Chief on the play. Derek Blaylock, a backup running back who plays on special teams. Coming into play today, 13 of the 16 AFC teams were 500 or better. Now that number is going to change, of course, but for Kansas City, they're in the wrong spot. They fall to 5-6. Oakland winning today. Chance to go to 7-4. San Diego has lost. And the Denver Broncos now with Steve Berline in at quarterback for the injured Brian Griese, and the complexion of the AFC West is beginning to establish itself as we get ready for week 13.
Big stumble for the Kansas City Chiefs, but there's plenty of football left to be played. They certainly are not out of it.
Matt Hasselbeck, 25 of 36, 362 yards, 3 touchdowns for Mike Holmgren's team. And the Seahawks win their 2nd home game of the season in brand new Seahawks Stadium. Seattle has handed Kansas City A jolting defeat, and one that puts a monkey wrench into their playoff dreams. 39-32, the final score. Seahawks over the Chiefs. These two teams won't play again until 2006. They spent 25 years as divisional rivals, and Seattle has won it here at home. For Solomon Wilcots, this is Ian Eagle saying so long from Seahawks Stadium. Final score once again, 39-32. Seattle wins it. Coming up next, 60 minutes, except on the West Coast. You've been watching the NFL on CBS. Thanks for joining us.